Hello and welcome. Well, today we are talking about the talk shop economy. It's amazing since government after government, president after president has all informed us that we're running a gorgeous barren economy where we just dig up our natural resources and hurriedly ship them out of the country. They then add value to it and then we go and then import it. And so what we do, we run around looking for very expensive dollars with our hard-earned CD and go and bring back value added for our own natural resources and bring it back in here. And somehow in the midst of this, we know we're going to make it. In the same midst, we have very little energy. So companies would have to operate on generators, which is an extremely expensive way of producing anything. And therefore you are uncompetitive. On the back of that, this same company who's bought this expensive fuel to generate his or her factory has to go to the bank. The maximum the bank is going to give them is about a year of high interest. 20% minimum, you're looking about 30% at best. Yet, we still believe that our industries are going to grow in the midst of all this. And sometimes I wonder that if our industries are in the business of making miracles or what, because in this case, whatever it is that you produce, I can go to China, fly it by Concorde and get it here, and it will still work out cheaper. Is there ever going to be a time that we come to the table and say, stop tickling yourself because you are not making it? My name is Nana Saka. This is PM Express. And when I come back, I will introduce my guest. Don't move. Well, thank you very much for staying. And we are looking at a talk shop economy. Everybody seems to grasp hold of the economy and we talk and talk. And sometimes we actually talk in the right direction where we know what it is that we have to do, but it never gets done. And Tuesday and today, Wednesday, there was the economic forum that was held at Moving Peak, sponsored by Joy FM, indeed Multimedia and others. And the best brains of the country met and they talked again. Are we going to meet again next year to further talk, or by next year, by the time we meet, we will have started implementation? And the bottom line is that we need to get the economy growing, and to get the economy growing, you need jobs and industries to move. Now, one person that was there was Kwame Jantua, who's an energy expert, and he's right here with me. He's also the organizer for CPP?
The Deputy General Secretary for the CPP.
Deputy General Secretary for the CPP. Ghana is his hobby. He's very passionate about his country. Senior brother, you're welcome.
Thank you, Nana. How are you?
Very good.
I've been hearing you on the radio.
Very good. And tomorrow we're looking at youth unemployment.
Hey, it's a big one.
That's a big one, yeah.
Big one.
I still think there's quite a lot of jobs out there, but there are not enough bodies. So you need to tune in and let's discuss.
It depends on the type of jobs you're talking about.
You see now, so we tune in and debate it. But Kwame, I'm going to start with what is left of our economy? What is left of it?
When you say what is left of it, in terms of, is it ticking, is not ticking, is it there, is it not there?
Any aspect of this economy which has anything good to write about seems to be owned by a foreign entity. The ones that are ours are either nothing to write home about or they are not giants. So what is left of us, our part of the economy, which we can, come home and say, yes, this sector is ours and it's fantastic?
Let me start with the one I feel can be ours, and which should be ours, and which can help the economy grow but is not helping the economy grow. And that's the banks. At least we have homegrown banks in this country. They are supposed to be the repository of lending money to businesses. And if you permit me, I will take a quote from the B&FT newspaper of today.
Sure.
And the forum was opened by the Vice President.
Yeah.
Ms. Arthur. And if you permit me, I'll read. It says Ghana's Vice President Kwesi Emisa Arthur has chided banks for being too comfortable with fixed income securities and just turning in huge profits for shareholders without stretching the limits of banking in the country. Mr. Emisa Arthur, who served as the governor of the Bank of Ghana for 3 years, has thus called on banks to reduce their investments in all government securities, which currently pay on average 25% interest, and instead expand the savings base of Ghanaians, lend more to individuals and small and medium enterprises. So another question I ask. The Vice President, Kwesi Emisa Arthur, he is the Vice President.
Yeah.
Was he not the governor of the Bank of Ghana for 3 years?
Yes.
When he was governor, what did he do to help what he's talking about here? Is it that he's now got into government? And I'm not trying to...
No, it's a fact.
Yes.
I asked the same question.
Yes.
So
is it that he's now in government and sees the enormity of unemployment and sees the enormity of small businesses not being able to raise finance for their businesses? Is it now? So what did he do then? Absolutely nothing. And obviously, banks are businesses. And government has also opened its doors in terms of getting big loans from banks, securities from banks. With securities, the risks are very low, hardly any risk at all. And you nearly get what? Nearly get 25% to 30% interest on your money.
It's good.
Why shouldn't they go there? Why shouldn't they go there? The statistics shows that 30% of Ghanaians have bank accounts. 70% are without bank accounts. Why is that so? And there's no interest. And you know, in other jurisdictions, it's the small to medium-sized businesses that run the economy. Why aren't we running our economy that way? You talk about what do we own. At the present moment, the only thing I think we own are the streets of this country. And even that contractors do not have the money to repair those streets we talk about. Because governments feel that the easy way out is to do what? Is to sell or do a joint venture, not with local companies, but with companies abroad. And so you ask the question, don't you think it would have been a good thing for the president if it's every quarter to have a roundtable discussion with the private sector? That is where we say jobs are created. Does the president do that? Does cabinet do that? Does parliament do that? And you would say that, oh, it's not parliament's duty. Live outside the box. The fact that it's not your duty doesn't mean that you cannot do it. Let the people who vote for you in power see that you are making an effort to get most of these institutions in line. Now, Kofi Amwa is saying that we need to regulate banks. And whose responsibility is it? Isn't it government? Is that being done? Try it in the UK today. They will regulate you just like that. Why can't we do it here? Because for me, it boils down to the fact that we do not love ourselves enough, Nana. We do not love ourselves enough to be able to make sure that the small business that is trying to grow has availability of funding to grow. The other side of the story is that sometimes we are our own enemies. Companies go in, they give them loans, and they don't pay back.
Let me interject a bit. You see, at the moment, now I say kudos to any business that's going on today, because you're going for a loan which is maximum 12 months. Maybe you're very good, so 28% interest.
Which is high.
Maybe 30.
Yeah,
Let's
high.
say maybe 30%. So within that 12 months, Kwame, you need to start whatever it is, market it, sell it, produce it, mark up, and go back and pay the bank in a year's time. I mean, if you don't import rice or something from somewhere and sell it, but you really wanted to, let's say, make chale waters, or you wanted to make a bucket, or how do you survive within 12 months to borrow this money, pay them back, and also survive? I mean, how do they do it? You in business.
The question I ask is that, what preparations do we make as small businesses to get into a business like that? What preparations do we make? How do we read the market? How do we identify who our market source is? How do we work out break-even point before we even start? How do we work out cost of raw materials? Do we put a feasibility study together? I remember in the days when I was in the UK and I decided that law is not for me anymore and I wanted to go into business. And the first thing I decided to do was to bring in fresh produce from West Africa. So I went to see my bank manager. He looked at my business plan. He gave me £7,000, but he didn't stop there. He policed me from day one, making sure that every step of the way, the monies that they gave me, I'd be able to pay back. So there were advisors from the bank looking at how I was handling the produce when it came in, looking at my packaging, looking at my storage, making sure that the time that the orders were given, I was able to bring it in on time. Because that money they've given me are other people's deposits, and they need to be able to pay back if there's a call on that money. Do our banks do that here? Do our banks do that? Do we police the small businesses we give monies to? And not police in the sense of trying to catch them out, but trying to guide them in how they use that money. Now, would you say we should regulate for that sort of practice to happen within our banks? I think at the present moment, and I heard from the forum, one bank is trying to do that, and that is Access Bank, is trying to make sure that when they give loans out, they can police it and make sure that the loans are being used properly.
Do it. Let me acknowledge Mrs. Edith Dankwa, who's CEO of PNFT, who were part organizers of this forum. Edith, you're welcome. Hello? Have I going? How? Edith, you're welcome.
Thank you, and good evening to all your viewers.
Well, good evening. Right back at you too. Edith, beautiful forum in order, but how do we make sure policyholders implement all these good ideas that come out of this forum so that it's not one of those things that we are going to shelve?
Yes, thank you. Fortunately, the organizers, or we at Business and Financial Times, we have a platform, which is our newspaper.
Yeah.
We're going to serialize all the discussions that went on, the presentation, to ensure that those who did not participate may benefit from it.
Okay.
Secondly, the communique that we came up with would be presented to the office of the president and the vice president. Fortunately or luckily for us, the vice president participated in the conference. He opened it for us, and he assured us that he would be waiting for us to submit the communique to him. We would also draw up proposals by drawing up suggestions that were made, at the forum, and then also which were captured in the communique, and we would send them to relevant agencies. We would not end there. We would follow up with, in collaboration with our media partners, the multimedia group, using their radio, Joy FM, to engage some of the leaders in some of the agencies that we identify, to ensure that what we have presented to them will not end there, but will let them understand that that is a voice of both corporate Ghana and also the public sector, that these are things that we agreed for us to do. And so we would use a platform, we would push, we would serve as an advocacy platform that is using both media organizations to ensure that what we presented is being implemented one way or the other. We realize that, our problem wasn't the fact that we didn't know our problem, we didn't know the solution, but the implementation is our problem.
Yeah.
We identify solutions and how to push it through, how to implement them is where the problem is. And so we're going to put pressure on that. I know that policymakers or the government is also maybe also looking out for solutions that could also help us, to get us out as a country, out of this crisis that we find ourselves. So it is in our interest, and it's in the interest of the government, to ensure that some of the suggestions that have come up through the forum would be implemented for the sake or for the good of our country.
Edith, I have with me Kwame Jantua, who was at the forum too. I think Kwame wanted to say something.
Yes. Good evening, Edith. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Good evening, Edith.
Good evening, Kwame.
There's one thing that I observed. I was at the forum, and as you know, I chaired one of the panel discussions on energy. But one thing I observed was that there were not many politicians in the room. The politicians who make the decisions. I would suggest that next year, as much as possible, if we can get politicians to take part in these debates, it would help energize and it would give us a much better outlook as to government's direction. Yes, Honorable Pelpo was there, but he was in another panel discussion, but he wasn't in the main hall in terms of when we now came to discuss some of the issues that had been raised in the panel discussions. And I would suggest that as much as possible, we get some of the politicians in there, because it is us who vote for the politicians to get into power. And they are there to serve us and not them to serve themselves. So I think, it would be a good idea to get the relevant ministries and the relevant politicians to be part and parcel of these discussions, which would then make it much more enticing for people to listen to.
I agree with you. This is the fourth edition that we're running this forum. And in the past, we've done our best to bring the politicians or even government, to involve government in this forum. It is very difficult. And for me, I must take this opportunity to thank the Vice President for taking time off to participate or to be with us during the opening. It is very difficult when they're in power, to get them to be part of it, because I would think that the government would like to be, or it will interest them to be part of such a forum, to hear or to listen to what the private sector has to say. Because, even that diffuses tension, because we realize that we are in a situation or in a state that businesses are unhappy with their businesses. We are in a crisis situation, and the best we could do is to come together, not as people from different parties or whatever it is, but to come together on a neutral platform like this to really discuss the issues that confront us as a country. But getting that is very difficult, and it sometimes seems as if someone is doing someone a favor. For me as an individual, all I want is my business to thrive. If corporate Ghana is doing well, we benefit, immensely, because companies can then advertise with us, companies can then do business with us. If the economy suffers, our industry suffers the most. And for me, I want to see a country that is owned, that majority of Ghanaians own, a majority stake or significant stake in all sectors of the economy. Because when we are strong and our country is strong economically, our children will benefit and our children's children will benefit. We as individuals today, yes, we may, find something to do to exist, to survive. But what is going to happen 20 years down the lane? And I see signals and I panic. And what I say is that Ghana is not for politicians. It's for all of us. So the right environment has to be created so that we all have the opportunity to enjoy our country. Why should we all be in this country and we have people going out there to invest in Dubai? Why should we have, people in this country, politicians going to other countries to invest? And we stay here and we say we don't have money and the economy is suffering? I don't get it. So someone must be, either what we are hearing or what we are seeing is not right. Some of us just don't want to get into this kind of discussions, because the moment we still have to do it, but the moment you start talking about it, you're tagged.
Yeah.
For me, when NPP comes, they tag me as being NDC. When NDC is in power, they tag me as being NPP. So for me, I don't even know where I am.
So invite CPP, and they would. Edith, if the main political parties are not coming, let's say the ruling party is not coming, invite the oppositions, invite the various opposition parties, be them in parliament, be them not in parliament, because what it would do, it would push the main party to come to the table, because they would say some pertinent things that would really push the main party to come onto the table. I think it should be an open discussion.
Our next door neighbors, the Nigerians, they have the Nigerian Economic Summit. The president takes time every year to open the summit for them. And that is a platform where they have, the opportunity to meet the president, to talk about business. This alone is a plus. Why can't we do it here? This has been running for the past 4 years. Why can't we do it? So there's something not right. And
So Edith, on that though, let me ask you this question. Do you think as a state we recognize the importance of small businesses?
Globally, small businesses contribute immensely towards the development of countries or nations globally. So we can't say that we don't understand or we don't appreciate, because we always have, leaders in authority or people in authority coming to say that, yes, we're helping businesses, blah, blah. It's a different thing knowing, and if there's a difference, or it's also a different thing acting and creating the right environment for businesses to thrive, creating the right environment for the creation of businesses, creating the right environment for Ghanaians to have a stake in our economy. So if you know and you don't create the right environment, then where are we? So for me, we are looking at a situation. Let me give you an example. We have international publications coming in. They come in and they do projects on Ghana. We pay them, the government pays them so much. As a local company, we employ close to 100 people. Send a proposal to government and see whether you will get the same money they give to these people.
Wow.
Why can't we make the effort to build our local media, to help build? We always complain about the fact that we don't have the capacity. What is government doing to support the media, to build capacity so that we also can compete globally? Why can't we do this? What are we waiting for? That is my question. And I get really frustrated because we at Business and Financial Times, we don't only publish Business and Financial Times, we publish Pan-African publications, a Business Times Magazine, and Energy Today. We are in South Africa, we are in Nigeria, we are in Kenya. We are struggling. We have sent proposals, even for interviews with our president. It is a problem. When our president was a vice president, we had access to him. Now that he's a president, we cannot have access to him, but international publications will have access to him. So we are helping build other publications. I'm not saying we shouldn't go into partnerships or we shouldn't, do publicity in other publications, but there should be an effort, there should be a plan to help our local businesses to survive. Because until or unless we do that, we will always run to external, sources for funding or for money, because local companies are not doing well, are not strong enough.
Okay,
we have businesses which are local champions, but globally we cannot compete.
Hold on for me.
And this is why we should be worried as a country. We should be worried because we can locally, yes, we can stay here and boast, but globally we'll be missing, we'll be lost. So there must be an effort to help local companies, not mine alone. If we take this JIDA issue, I don't want to bring in this, but I'm forced to do that. If you put together the money that has been lost in this process, and if we're talking about even 900 million, and you identify 100 companies, and you decide to give each company 1 million Ghana cedis to do business, what is going to happen to our economy? And we sit here and complain? No.
Hold on a bit, and I'm going to twist and turn the whole debate, and I'll start with Kwame. Kwame, I'll ask the question, I'll go for a break and come back. In the midst of all this, should we set our minimum wage in dollars? Yeah, so that the value of everybody stays the same. They go out and spend more, they will buy more papers, they buy more food, and the economy starts growing. So I'm going to go to break and back. We're setting the minimum wage in dollars to see that if it will help ginger up the economy. So Edith, don't move, Kwame, don't move. We're going to take a break and we're coming straight back. Thank you very much for staying. And we are looking, well, we're talking about the talk shop economy we have in our country. I have on the phone Mrs. Edith Dankwa, who's the CEO of BNFT, paper that keeps us abreast with what business trends are. With me in the studio, my senior brother Kwame Jantua, energy expert, and Staunch member, the CPP, and also Ghanaian, as his hobby is Ghana. But just before the break, I just wanted to turn the argument a little bit, since we're talking about the economy. And I'm saying that at the moment, minimum wage is like 7 Ghana cedis. So every 3 months, every person is worth about 5% less because of how products are going up. So your spending capacity is less. And I'm saying if we tag the minimum wage in dollars, everybody's spending capacity increases. And therefore, they are able to go out to the shops and spend more and look after their children and do things. And therefore, these same shops, the economy starts moving. And I think it's about time we stop deceiving ourselves that, we can't dollarize, because we are, hardcore dollarized as a country. So, Kwame, my argument is, let's forget about all this hypocrisy. Set a minimum wage in dollars. People's capacity, spending power increases and does not diminish. 2 years ago, if I took my wages to New York, I could spend, 2 times as more as I can spend today. Meanwhile, probably they've even given me a 10% increase, yet still my spending power has gone down. But if they were paying me in dollars, I would still have the same spending capacity, and then the economy will move.
That is a very easy and lazy way to look at the cost, the minimum wage. There are certain things we need to put in place, and the 4 of them that I can identify. The cost of production in this country, 1, is very high. We need to lower our imports into this country. We need to create more employment, and we need to add value to our natural resources.
That would take 8 to 10 years.
Why should it?
But
why should it take 8 to 10 years?
In between that,
why should it take 8 to 10 years?
You're here to build your factories. You're here to train, because we don't have skills.
So let me give you an example.
Yeah,
we have Tema Oil Refinery.
Yeah,
one of the major refineries, supposed to be the major refineries in West Africa. If in the past we hadn't mismanaged Tema Oil Refinery and we'd added value to Tema Oil Refinery, don't you think we would be producing petroleum products in Tema at the refinery? Not only for Ghana, but for the West African sub-region. What does that do to imports of petroleum products in this country?
That'll help a lot.
It brings it down significantly, makes more money. We are able to save the dollars that we take out to bring in petroleum products. We are not doing that. Tema Oil Refinery is a white elephant standing there. So you see, if we are able to, currently what they are producing, the cost of it is so high. If you are able to bring down the cost of production, people would have more purchasing power to buy things at a very reasonable rate. Look, I believe that if you tag people's minimum wage to the dollar, you won't be able to pay transport fares in this country.
You think everybody would dollarize?
Everybody would dollarize, even the cocoa seller.
No, but you see, basically, you probably wouldn't say that I'm paying you in dollars, but then you just go and if it's the dollar is 5 cedis, you then multiply it by.
How do you support it? How do you support that increase? Because remember that the exchange rate is going up all the time.
Yeah, but then
how do you support it?
But the people's spending power would also go up, so you would make more business.
It is not a question of spending power alone. You need to have the manufacturing industries here to be able to export.
Because we don't have that. That's why I'm dollarizing the minimum wage, so that even if you go and bring your stuff from China or Dubai, people are able to come in to buy, to just get things going.
But that is what we're trying to stop. Bringing stuff from China and Dubai.
And that would take us 10, 15 years. Have I got Edith on the phone?
I don't think it would take us 10, 15 years.
Edith, I am dollarizing the minimum wage. And I can almost hear you disagree.
What you're trying to say is that I should, if I have a next door neighbor who earns 10,000 a month, and I earn 2,000 or 1,000 a month, and they spend, let's say 500 a month, I should also spend 500,000 a month.
No.
We should be able. Yeah, we should be. Why would you peg your currency to the dollar?
Because what happens is, if 2 years ago or maybe 3 years ago, if I gave you a check of 6,000 cedis and you went to Fifth Avenue, you have $3,000. If I give you the same check today and you went to Fifth Avenue, you have nowhere near $3,000. So your value has.
Where is Fifth Avenue?
But the fact is that.
Why are you tagging it to New York?
Well, I can bring it back here because all the things that we drink here, all our juices and everything, come in here dollarized.
I'm saying that is wrong. We should cut that down.
That is our problem.
We should put more taxes on these things coming in and try and build our own production in this country.
In the meantime.
We have to.
That's what I'm trying to solve. In the meantime.
In the meantime, there's no in the meantime. To be able to get there, we need to sacrifice. To be able to get there, we need to sacrifice.
Exactly.
We do not say that, in the meantime, because we want to drink fruit juice, cereal juice, and all that, let's bring it in whilst we do that. No, we have to sacrifice. Have to sacrifice for a certain duration to build it up, and then take it from there.
Let me hear your take. Since
until we're able to produce what we consume and consume what we produce, we'll be in this situation forever. We should be able to own our economy, and we are looking at an economy which, Ghanaians are the drivers of the manufacturing process. If our exports or imports are more than exports, what is going to happen? We'll find ourselves in this situation. So we need to encourage ourselves, more businesses, whatever. It is difficult, yes. You cannot push people to buy made in Ghana goods. But we have to encourage it, and we have to put taxes, on the imported goods, which makes it unattractive for people to buy those goods.
See, what I'm trying to do is give people a certain certainty in their spending power. Because what then happens is, somebody earns the same amount of money, and now by the time they pay school fees and do this and do that, they haven't got enough to go to the shops or wherever it is to spend for the economy to grow. And these are the small businesses that need that everyday business for it to grow. But the average guy can't afford it.
But Edith, I'm very sorry. What you're missing is that this small business or this whole individual who you're trying to increase his purchasing power, he's going into the shops to buy imported goods. He's not going into the shops to buy goods that have been manufactured in Ghana that would be of a reasonable price. And that is where we should start from. It's not a question of using the little money you have to buy imported goods. No. To buy local goods. We need to start from somewhere. Look, don't we import coconut oil? Don't we import all other oils we used to eat here? We eat here, we cook our food. Don't we have coconut in this country?
Plenty.
Are we doing anything with it? The coconut itself, the coconut fruit itself, The whole thing you can use for so many things. Are we using it? Go to India. They make mats out of coconut. They make carbonite. They use carbon to carbonize water in Ireland. What are we doing? Absolutely nothing. We are not adding value to those things that can create extra income for this country.
Let me announce.
And I'll give you an example.
Let me announce the phone number and I'll come to you. The phone number is 0302 211 701 0302 211 701 704 up to 704 701 7234. So call and let's see if you're going to help me dollarize the minimum wage, increase your spending power so that at least whatever happens, you still have, if it's 10 cities, you still have your 10 cities, rather than today you have 10 cities, tomorrow you go there and it's not actually 10 cities because you are unable to spend the same.
Nana, let me ask you a question.
Yes.
Does it make sense, Ghana being the second largest producer of cocoa, and we import jute sacks? Do you know how much we spend in importation of jute sacks alone? Are you saying we cannot grow jute here? We did it before. We manufactured the sacks here and we are supplying other countries. Why can't we do it now? That is huge capital flight out of the country. So how do you dollarize your minimum wage? When the money that you have to keep in here, you're sending it out to other people's countries.
You see, we've talked about it and we don't do it.
Yes, because there's no political will to do it. There's no political will to do it.
Yeah.
We want a president to come to say that if I do not win, even if I don't win the next election, I'm doing what is right.
Let's hear what Henry in Cape Coast, if it's Henry.
Yes, boss. Good evening.
Good evening, Henry.
My suggestion to this program supports what my big man is saying. What you are saying is near buy and sell, but he is talking about economics, and it works perfectly if we don't stop buying from outside. You know, there's one thing Nkrumah did. He built a lot of industries, and these industries have been collapsed. We need to revive this industry for our economy to be stable. Otherwise, if we depend on this foreign goods, we can increase the minimum wage to the level in which it will be equivalent to our demand and supply.
Oh, okay. That was Henry's take, thinking that. Well, Henry's with you that but I'm saying that until the industries come, what do we do?
You have to start from somewhere. You have to start from somewhere. You have to begin from somewhere. Create sufficient incentives and the right environment, to create new businesses.
It's been 2015 and we haven't started. Let me speak to Norbert in Boriga. Norbert, hello.
Hello.
Oh, hello. Have I got?
Hello. Good evening, Anna.
Good evening.
Yeah. Please, I'm just calling to contribute to the program.
Of course, you're on there. Let's hear you.
Yeah. Please tell Mr. Jantua that as they are comparing the local prices of items to that of the imported goods, right now, yesterday I bought a bowl of local rice, 10 Ghana cedis in Bolga.
I see.
That of the polished rice, that is the imported one, the same 10 cedis. Now, considering the advantages for this, the local rice, you still have to come and sit down.
Lower your set and listen for your submission from your phone. Lower your TV set, yeah.
You have to, hello, please. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
You have to select stones and even rice, seeds with hacks. Hello.
And it was still 10 cities.
Before,
you see, so even local.
The same time. So if you are somebody holding your money, what will you prefer to buy? The local one or the polished ready-made rice?
Okay, no, but you made your point there, and I think I'll further on the argument. You made your point that even local things are going up, and therefore, if you stabilize somebody's spending power, it helps the economy.
The journey of 1,000 miles starts with one step. Ideally, what government should do is to put high taxes on imported rice and push Ghanaians to go for locally grown rice and brown rice. The same way we did incandescent bulbs. Did we not eradicate incandescent bulbs in this country to get the low voltage bulbs we've got today?
Let me speak to Ernest in Kumasi. Hello, Ernest.
Hello.
Yes, my brother.
Hello, Nana.
Yes, lower your TV set
Good
and then
evening.
talk to me via your phone. Good evening, my brother.
Okay. Is it okay now?
It's perfect.
Good. I am calling from Kumasi,
Sure.
and I think I side with the two.
Mm-hmm.
And what I'm saying is that unless we start putting up industries in Ghana,
Mm-hmm.
certainly we cannot go away from this, our economic crisis. As Madam Judith was saying,
Mm-hmm.
if the private sectors were to be given like some funding and they are being supported by the government to put up industries, then certainly we're going from somewhere. As
Kwame.
I've forgotten his name.
Kwame, yeah.
The man with you now.
Yes, Kwame Jantua.
Yes, please. We are certainly going to start from somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
You see, unless we do that, we cannot change our economy. So please, if anything, government should start looking at the coming in to put up industries in Ghana where we can start manufacturing our own products.
Thank you very much, Ernest. So now let me now move. Let me now shift the goalpost now, since we are thinking of moving our industries. And as I said in my intro, and is that we have no energy. Number one, energy to industries is expensive. Credit is very high and very short. Skills, basic skills. I mean, how many plumbers do you know? I don't know any. Meanwhile, we need plumbers, we need steel benders, we need masons, carpenters. I've been chasing a carpenter for the last week to make me a shelf. I can't find a carpenter. So we have all these things, and yet we need to build an industry. Until then, what happens? I'm going to take a break, and then when we come back, we find out how industry is going to survive amidst all these challenges. Don't move. Well, thank you very much for staying, and welcome. We are looking at our talk shop economy and where it is we start from. But let me start with you, Edith. Mm-hmm. I gave some basic factors which everyone would need for the smallest of industry. Even if it was just a little corn mill, you need these factors. We don't have them. How are our industries going to survive, grow, let alone compete?
You know, as I mentioned earlier, that's when we need our government support. The right environment must be created. Incentives must be given. It is an effort. It is an investment. If we want our economy to be stable and we want to develop our economy, we need to invest. And so the right incentives must be in place for people to import machines into the country, machinery. Mm-hmm. If you take agric and you want to promote agric, let's say you have a 10-year or a 5-year plan for agric. You want to mechanize agric. You can create an environment where producers or farmers can import or bring in machines that don't attract taxes to support them to plant and mechanize their farms. So it's an effort and it's a plan that has to be put in place. So you make you should have a vision to begin with. What do we want? Where do we want to go? When do we want to get there? And then you put in plans to get, in our private lives, we are able to plan our lives, we're able to do that. So why can't we do that as a country? So if you don't have a plan, that is also our problem. If we don't know where we are going, we don't know where we are, we don't know where we want to, we don't have a vision, it becomes difficult for us to even plan towards it. So as a country, we need a vision that we must all hold ourselves to. And this shouldn't be left to government alone. We should all be part of it. We should be prepared to sacrifice.
Hold on for me, Edith.
Yeah.
Let me speak to Edward and Sunyani. Let's see. Edward, what's your take?
Hello, Nana.
Hello.
Thank you very much for the discussion you're having so far. You are so wonderful.
Thank you.
The topic today is very, very important. I thank you and your co-hosts at the studio. Now, what I want to draw we Ghanaian our attention to is the handiwork that we have to do. What we have to use our hand in creating things. Sometimes, do you imagine, excuse me to say, the low-learned people want to travel outside Ghana, go there, have jobs to do, and come back to the country. What do they go there to do? The masons, the carpenters, those people who are not highly educated, when they go there, they are able to make it. But these people in those countries, we call them developed. Who develop their countries? It is these people that we allow here to go, that go there to develop their countries. So if we want our country to develop, we must develop it from the scratch, not from the highly certificated and people. No. There are some people that call themselves agric officers, what officers. Can you imagine? They have not even planted a single maize before. But if you have not done that before, what will be your experience? We say experience is the best teacher. So if we want to develop the agri sector, let us go to the local farmers who have the variety and know the variety, they understand the variety. We tap the knowledge from them. If we want to develop the wood or any other private industry, let's go to the grassroots. If we don't go there and we sit down, what you people are saying is very wonderful. Ghanaians, sometimes when I listen to people like you talking on TV, I become so wonderful that we have all these brains and we still cannot develop. It's very pity. Let's calm down. Let's train the children. Now, you know what? I'm a teacher. They said we learn creative art. Creative art, we use our hand in creating things. Little by little, we develop them. But what attention do we give to that? Even the subject called creative art, we don't develop it. We want mathematics, we want English, we want the other subjects develop. But this will be the backbone of the country.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was a good contribution. Edith, let me come back to you.
Okay.
I think Edward has raised some salient points, and I was talking about skills, and I'm true to the fact for the last 2 weeks, in my area, I've been looking for a carpenter, and I can't seem to find a carpenter in my area. And I can imagine I just want a shelf done. So if I had gotten a contract where I needed about 600 carpenters, I could forget it because I wouldn't find it.
I agree with you. As a people, we have our own challenges. But it takes, when it comes to human resource, and the capacity building, aspect, we have challenges, there serious challenges. And a lot needs to be done, Like you said, if you need a carpenter, we have good carpenters around, but for them to move from one level to the other is a problem. Maybe because of lack of capacity, or lack of understanding, or lack of whatever it is. I believe that as much as we have our problems, leadership plays a role. Leadership plays a role here. Leadership in all spheres, not government alone, everywhere. In our offices, in our homes, wherever. Let me give you an example.
Briefly, and then I'll get Kwame to sum up for us.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, in our offices, we have people who, we are a bit laid back as a people. That is what I can say. There are hardworking ones. There are people who are knowledgeable. But the fact is that we need systems which allows people or push people to do what they have to do. Because if you travel, the last speaker said, they go outside, Ghanaians go outside the country, they're able to perform well because they have systems and structures.
Thank
if you don't work, you don't get paid.
Edith, thank you so much for your contributions. Unfortunately, we ran out of time, so I'll give the last word to Kwame to sum up. But I don't think this conversation has ended, though. So I hope the next time we can get you in the studio so we can, judge your face to face.
Sure, that's okay.
Okay, thank you very much.
I don't like the cameras.
Edith, your camera is very friendly with you. I know that. Well,
Nana?
Yes.
One thing I don't understand is that we have the template in this country. We've done it before. Under CPP government at Nkrumah, we did it. We have the template of a national development plan. A national development plan does not only concern projects. It concerns how you cite your education, your health, your agriculture, your housing. Let's go back there. Let's look at it. Let's tweak it to today's Ghana and see where we go from here. In Nkrumah's time, the type of artisans we had, they were working all through West Africa. We had vocational and technical schools. So if you did the OA levels and you didn't pass, you go into vocational. And we had the best technical people, carpenters, welders, plumbers, electricians. We had the best. What happened to it? I think coups in this country hasn't helped us. It hasn't helped us. It has killed so many things. And unfortunately, we've had leaders in the past who haven't been dedicated in making sure that these things that were started have been continued. And it's a shame. As I say, political will is the key to let these things happen once more. Because it is mind-boggling for you to be looking for a carpenter in your area and you can't get a carpenter. And even if you get the carpenter, the quality of goods. What did Alban Babin say when they were buying these chairs for Job 600? Quality.
Well, I hope that my producers will get this conversation back, because this conversation has just begun. It is important, and it's one of those ones that you have to keep dropping. I want to say thank you very much to Tantiz, who supplies all my outfit for the show. And Tantiz, you can reach her on 024 366 2001. 024 366 2001. Say thank you to Kwame and to Edith, to Nee for putting the show together, for Sarah, who's directing the show today and talking into my ear. Tomorrow on That's My Opinion, I'm saying that there are jobs, but where are the workers? Indeed, there are some amazing statistics that I'm going to release. So those of you who haven't tuned in before, tune in between 2 and 3 Joy FM 99.7 FM and listen to my piece. That's My Opinion. But tomorrow we'll be back to do this all over again. Thank you very much for watching. Kwame, thank you for coming.
Thank you, man.
You're welcome.